Greetings to everyone. And you know what? The one thing that really brings a bit of sadness to my heart is the fact that when I look back at the interviews that we have had and the fun that we've had on the show, and you see that we are actually coming towards the end of the 1965 Ride talk, it really brings a bit of sadness. But, to bring back some of the spark and the spirit of the 1965 Ride, this afternoon, or should I say today, I have none other than a person that has been part of the ride, a person who's done the ride and has enjoyed it. He's a principal, and the year that he did it, there were quite a number of principals that said, okay, you know what, guys, for our schools, this is what we're going to do. For our communities, this is what we're going to do. So I'm going to bring on to the show Arno Swarts.
Hello, Pakamani.
Very good afternoon, Mr. Swarts. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm in high spirits. I'm in anticipation of the 1965 riders, Cycling to Educate riders, coming to Queenstown on Thursday. And within that thought, I said, there's a gentleman that I haven't spoken to in a while, and your name cropped up. How have you been, sir?
I've been well. Term 2's been busy, especially, the first thing on everybody's mind on Term 2 is the reunion. So everybody's minds are there. So yeah, it's difficult to struggle with your own things here at school, and you get busy. And it's really going well. Really can't complain. And excited to be here. First time doing this, so hopefully all goes well. I'm sure you'll be very well.
No, one of the things that I also said was that, I'm going to be interviewing people. What do I say? What questions come to mind, and what sort of conversation or learning opportunity that I can have? And one of the things that I've had as a learning opportunity has been the issue of understanding lighting, being in a well-lit room and all of that. And I said to a couple of guys, that even at the moment, I'm literally sitting with 3 lights that are just illuminating so that I can just look good on the screen. I've had to do some investigation in terms of technology to use as well in order for this to happen, because as much as both you and I are in Queenstown, we're still in different venues. So that has been something. And with that, time is moving. And a couple of years ago, we saw you on a bicycle, and that was on the next 1965 ride. What would you say ignited that sort of passion for you to get on a bicycle and cycle for education?
Jong, it all started with being at the rec. And, we were watching the cyclists coming one year, and a good friend of mine, Mr. Herman Venter, he's the principal at Whittlesea Get Ahead College. And, we spoke to one another, and we said, yes, why is anyone from the management of the schools actually doing this? It's all nice to see teachers, going ahead, going on a tour, riding the 9 or 10 days or the 2 days from East London, and then they come in here, we clap hands, but what does it mean from a management point of sight to say, okay, I'm also invested in this, and how can I get involved, and how can I show my commitment? And we jokingly said to each other, no, we're going to register and we're going to do it. And, the day went on, and we looked at the kids, and the kids went back, and the reunion started, and a couple of weeks actually went by. And he just sent me the screenshot. He has registered for the 1965 ride. And then I knew the pressure's on me. We spoke about this. Now I need to put my money where my mouth is. So that's how this actually started. It was just 2 principals talking to each other, saying, management needs to get involved. And there you go. The next year, we were on the ride. We practiced first and did our training, so get fit. But that's how we got there and got on the ride.
Okay. No, I like the fact that you referenced to the time that you were at the rec, and it actually sparked something within you. And, it's something that we've seen over the years in terms of the children, and they always, when the lap of honor happens, they do clap, and we get a chance to see the children do the war cry and so on. And as I said, you've had the experience now, you've been on the 1965 ride, and, you came back and you looked at it. And from your perspective, how much of an impact does such a ride have on the learners themselves?
Well, from a personal point of view, here at my school, you've seen the kids that get this bursary and the impact it has. When we sat in my office, I know Tony then was here one year where we actually, called the parents in and spoke to them and to congratulate. And then, it's not the screaming or shouting of excitement. It is the sincere crying of they appreciate it so much. And the fact that it's going to one of your top learners that are doing well, just not academically, but on sport. And to see what it means to them. I mean, I've got kids still coming back after they've been here at my school, coming to tell us, thank you so much for the opportunity. Even the parents, if they have siblings here, they come back to the school and they come into my office and they say, "Sir, what you have done for us is so amazing. It's like a godsend. It helps the community, and I think it shows commitment that something like this, a project like this, can actually make a difference. I mean, you've seen kids that have left the school, doctors and engineers and stuff, and again, it comes from this little thing that we have started here with Tony. Well, he started it. We just joined in. He has created something so beautiful that affects everyone, but it's only given to a certain child in your school. I think there's like 12 or 15 people at the end getting it, but from your school, it might be only one. But for that one child, it means the world because, in a society today, it's difficult. There's lots of things, lots of pressures on parents to pay school fees, to help the sports clothes, the clothing, and then something like this comes along and it actually really makes a difference. And the fact that this program is helping the kids till they are finished with the high school, I mean, that means a lot. It says a lot. And those children are actually, I've seen some of the learners that get this bursary now already investing back into the school in Queenstown. And for me, that is what makes this the perfect, thing for the learners to get, because they are giving back at the end of the day as well. So it's like a cycle of what we are giving is reciprocated along the way as well. So for me, this is something that the community should invest in, the people around us, the parents, the businesses, the schools. And the schools are heavily invested, but I mean, we should stay invested, because once that stops, the community will stop, the businesses will stop, and then this whole thing will fall down. So the thing about the not just the 965 ride, the East London ride and the Cape Town ride as well. This is something that we should motivate, and all the businesses around Queenstown, Eastern Cape should know about this to help. You think giving such a bursary is a bursary and that's it? It's not. It's I wish I can show you the emotion it creates that parent for that child of what this means. I mean, you can't describe it. You have to witness it firsthand. I mean, it brings tears to your eyes to see the difference you can make in a positive way.
That actually quite motivational in terms of just us having a greater insight in terms of this whole process of the 1965 ride. And, you also spoken about how people actually give back and the joy that it brings to the schools, the parents, and whatnot. So for a person who might say, listen, I want to get involved maybe next year and whatnot, what would be your words for that particular individual?
I would definitely say, your first thing should be to get involved with the 1965 ride, and the way you can do that is actually be a participant, a rider, because the riders are the ones that are getting these investments, these sponsorships. They are getting money in for this to actually happen. And I've seen it now first, and also being a rider, getting donations from businesses. That is where it comes from. It's not we're riding and all of a sudden the money appears magically. It's you have to work hard. It's difficult, and it's not an easy thing, because not all the businesses have recovered from COVID and they are still struggling. So you need to make sure that when you go on this ride, you get that money. And when you get that money and you go on this ride, it's not easy. everybody thinks it's easy, but for myself, a big man, it gets difficult. You know, those uphills, they will test you. And for me, the best way they can get involved again is get on that bike, start practicing, start training, and start getting those sponsors in, because that's where you can start making a difference. Whether if you're a rider, but you can also be on the sport team. But I mean, again, the sport team is limited. The riders, there's quite a lot. And I think if you finish with the ride and you go into that rec grounds with the kids cheering you on, that's where you actually feel you've made a difference. So you can't explain that. You have to experience it. So for anyone who's willing to do it, I promise you, at the end of the day, you will not be disappointed, and you will feel very proud of yourself of what you've achieved and what you have done.
All right. Thank you very much for the time that you have given to us. Thank you very much for the insight and information that we have had. And I definitely look forward to seeing you on Thursday with your lovely bunch of kids and staff. And, let's carry on the legacy of cycling. And as much as at times it might seem that it is impossible to get on that bike and whatnot, but as you say, small steps, and it starts with just having that bit of ignition and finishing it off. So again, Mr. Swart, thank you again for your time, and we look forward to seeing you on Thursday at the rec. And this time around, I think you will be playing cheerleader more than you'll be actually cycling. But again, thank you, sir, for your time.
Pakamane, it was just a pleasure. I really enjoyed the session with you. And I think if I can just end off, it's not about how far you ride. It's about how far you are willing to go for what matters. And this is what the 1965 ride, I think, stands for. It's what matters, and it's the learners. So I would like to end off with that, and also just say thank you for thinking of me and making this happen. I really do appreciate it. I think it's good to have these things happen, and I've seen some of your past videos. I think it gives people the idea of what the 1965 ride is, and the exposure you are giving it. I think it's wonderful. I think you are doing a terrific job. So keep on doing with it.
All right. Thank you very much for that. And I don't want people to see me blush, but thank you very much for that. And again, I do look forward to seeing you on Thursday. And do have a very good evening. And as you said, with your parents meeting, all the best for that. And see you on Thursday, sir.
Thank you, sir. Have a great evening.